to the Sports Bash pre-show presented by Ray the Plumber, located at 1560 Locust Avenue in Bohemia. Ray has been servicing the state of New York for all their plumbing needs for generations. Give them a call at 631-581-2500. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. He's Vinny Tickets. Number to call, 631-451-1039. Later on in the show, we're going to have Free Ticket Tuesday. Vinny, we're going to give away 2 tickets to see the Red Hot Mets take on the Twins July 30th at Citi Field.
2 weeks ago, I never thought we'd be hearing those words.
Red Hot or Mets versus Twins?
The Red Hot part.
Red Hot.
Yes.
Mets versus Twins, July 30th at Citi Field. That's coming up later on the show. Also, this day in sports history. It's time for the Sports Bash Flash, and it's brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner is located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash and get a free delicious dessert with your meal. Let us start in Arlington, where the Mets just keep on rolling.
First and second for DJ Stewart. His first pitch, swinging a high fly ball right field. Garcia going back, looks up, gone! DJ Stewart dumps a 3-run home run, 8 rows up in right field. Oh, what a first 2 innings for the Mets. They take a 7-0 lead.
And they were just getting started. Keith Radd on WCBS 880. Mets win their 6th in a row. Beat the Rangers 14-2. It got so bad for Texas, Vinny, they had to bring in a position player to pitch later on in the game. So you always like when you see those position players.
I actually, you know what? I do like to see that. I think it brings a little levity to the game.
Do you remember when Wade Boggs came in to pitch for the Yankees? I think he tried throwing a knuckleball.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So
you ever try and throw a knuckleball?
Yeah, you don't want me throwing anything. There's a reason why I'm on this side of the microphone, because I realized at a very young age that I was not good enough to play anything. So that's why I turned to this.
Yeah, I didn't have that revelation until I was 12.
I had some revelations when I was young. I'm like, I'm going to be a sports reporter, not play sports for a living. I knew very quickly. Mets and Rangers again tonight in Arlington. Now, the Yankees were off last night, but they did have some news yesterday as Anthony Rizzo will reportedly be out 4 to 6 weeks with a fracture to the radial neck of his right arm. The injury will not require surgery, but he's going to be out for a while, and we're finding out this morning that the Yankees are calling up first baseman prospect Ben Rice from AAA, combined AAA and AA numbers so far this year, 275, 15 home runs. So the Yankees really like this kid, Ben Rice, and they're going to give him a shot. He's up here to play.
Yeah, I like Rice.
And I like all kinds of rice. Fried rice.
We love rice.
Brown rice, white rice. I just hope Ben Rice does the job in place of Anthony Rizzo for 4 to 6 weeks.
There's
so we'll
some kind of play in there with the Ben and the Rice, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, you're definitely making me think about that. It's too early in the morning for me to think about these things. The Yankees do open up a huge series with the Orioles tonight in the Bronx, and Garrett Cole is going to make his season debut tomorrow night. And I think there was a point, I remember us doing, when we were doing the weekly show, and we reported on the Garrett Cole injury. And we had Susan Waldman on. I think we had Dr. Pacey on as well from Orland and Cohen. And there was a feeling when we heard that Garrett Cole was getting hurt that he was not going to come back at all this season. But this is great news for the Yankees that Garrett Cole is coming back. NBA Finals, Celtics win their 18th NBA championship. They beat the Mavericks 106-88 in Game 5 in Boston last night. Jason Tatum with 31 points.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's a surreal feeling. We did it. We did it! Oh, my God, we did it.
For the 18th time, the Boston Celtics do it. That was Tatum on ABC. You seemed a little happy, right?
I think so.
I would think you'd be happy. They did it.
Yeah, they did it.
Win the NBA championship. Jaylen Brown scored 21 points. He was voted the NBA Finals MVP. And here's an interesting story from the WNBA. So the Liberty are going to host the Minnesota Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup Championship game this coming Tuesday, June 25th. Now, the game is not going to be at Barclays Center. It's going to be at UBS Arena here on Long Island. The reason for that is Barclays Center is going to be transitioned into hosting the NBA draft next week. So the arena was not available to the Liberty, who according to reports, told the league about this months ago as they were making their way through the regular season games to qualify. And the league ignored them, saying you have to play it on that date. And then they even said, okay, then Minnesota will host the game. Well, the Liberty were 5-0 during the Commissioner's Cup playing games. Why should they lose a home game? So they were able to find a secondary home at UBS Arena, which I think could turn a negative into a positive, exposing their product to more fans here on Long Island that may not have gotten to see a game in Brooklyn.
Sure. A spectacular place to watch events. I mean, the place is immaculate. Food's fantastic. So I actually, maybe we'll take a road trip and we'll get out there to see that
I'm
game.
looking forward to going to that game next Tuesday at UBS Arena as the Liberty take on Minnesota. Coming up, we're going to welcome in our radio audience at Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Falcone Law Firm. If you need to speak to an attorney, call them at 631-6074-LAW. That's 631-607-4529. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Visit their website at martylyonsfoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. I'm Peter Schwartz. I say good morning to Vinny Tickets.
Good morning, Peter.
And it was certainly a good evening and a good morning now for Met fans as they keep rolling with 6 straight wins. So I'm sure a lot of Met fans want to talk about how the Mets are going through this resurgence. 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039, the number to call to join the show. And speaking of the Mets, later in the show, it is a free ticket Tuesday with 2 tickets to see the Mets and Twins on July 30th, and we're going to be giving those away later on.
Yes, we will. So tune in. Make sure you listen to find out how to win them.
And we kind of joked about this on the pre-show, but who would have ever thought about using the words red hot in front of the Mets, at least, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, it's really a miracle turnaround right now. So you know what I say, you got to believe.
And certainly, and that's the old phrase for the Mets. And this winning streak of 6 straight games started with the grimace from McDonald's throwing out the first pitch 6 games ago. And the grimace has now become, I'm thinking about Mr. and Mrs. Met this morning, because there's been so much attention that has been paid to the grimace for this winning streak since he threw out the first pitch. There have even been these wild things going on social media. Somebody joked yesterday the Mets have added a promotion. It's not real because my kids right away said, can we go to the game on June 29th? There was this fake internet post that the Mets now were giving away a Grimace Funko Pop figure on June 29th. And I'm like, I don't know if it's real. If it is, we'll see if we can get tickets for the game. But apparently it's not. But this whole obsession now with the Grimace, and it's almost like been a rallying cry for the Mets. And it's kind of funny because they've debuted these City Connect jerseys. Have you seen those City Connect jerseys? They have a little purple in them.
Yes.
And it's kind of eerily like
Grimace-ish.
crazy. Like what it's the power of the purple.
Yes.
You heard of the power of the people? Well, the Mets are having the power of the purple between the Grimace and the City Connect, which they finally won a game in. I think the last time they wore them, I think was the first time that they won a game in the with the City Connects. But what a 14-2 last night, last week they had won 2 games in a row with only 3 hits and 4 hits in the game, and now the Mets have the heavy lumber out.
Yeah, we spoke about that yesterday. I think Lindor had a big day yesterday.
Lindor is interesting because remember early in the season when Aaron Judge was struggling for the Yankees?
Yes.
And I had people making a big deal about Aaron Judge. Oh, the injury, the toe injury is catching up to him. Then he goes on this amazing run, and now it's like, he's the best player in baseball, which he is. So it's baseball. It's 162 games, and Francisco Lindor this year got off to probably I'd have to go back in Mets history and look at like worst starts by an all-star caliber player. And you couldn't have gotten off to a worse start than Francisco Lindor did this year. And look at the way he has turned himself around. Last night he had 4 hits in the game, and Brandon Nimmo had 4 RBIs, and the Mets were launching balls all over the place last night. And so maybe, it's 162 games. Everyone wanted Carlos Mendoza fired a month into the season.
Yeah, I agree. Baseball hitting is a very, very streaky skill set.
And it's
very
contagious.
Streaky.
And it's
contagious, yes.
So the Mets keep it rolling, 6 straight wins, and they're going to keep riding this out, and they play the Rangers again tonight. And it's Steve Cohen, when he was addressing the media last week in London, he was very optimistic. He said, let's just be patient and let's see what happens here. Because remember, even as much as last week, who are you going to trade at the trading deadline? Are you going to trade Alonso? Are you going to trade Jeff McNeil? Are you trading Nimmo? And like a week later, your six game winning streak and a couple of games under 500, and things have changed in a very, very short amount of time. Because now you can really start thinking about, and they're a couple of games out of a wild card spot. So this is, as long as it keeps rolling, the Mets are going to stay relevant here through the summer.
Yeah, that was really quick, too. It was a quick turnaround. I mean, just a few days ago, we're talking about, the trade deadline a few days ago, and they go on a little bit of a tear, and here we are, starting to believe again.
And now if you're the Mets and you can keep this rolling, you start going from the mode of David Stern saying, okay, we're going to trade this person, this person, this person at the trading deadline, to now you're in the conversation. And we know how the baseball playoffs work now. You got to be in it to win it. So you can be in as a wild card team and go through and win a World Series. That's obviously been done before. So now if you're David Stearns, you're starting to think, well, maybe I'm going to hold on to Pete Alonso. Maybe I'm going to hold on to Jeff McNeil. Maybe I'm going to hold on to Brandon Nimmo. Maybe I'm going to add to that instead. Maybe the Mets need, another piece, another bat in the lineup. Maybe they need another arm in the bullpen. Maybe they're going to go out and get another starting pitcher somewhere. Like, all you have to do is be on the precipice of getting into a playoff spot to start thinking, as long as you get in, you have a chance. And I think that's where the Mets have to start thinking about that now.
Yes, they just have to get over that little hump right there, keep playing good baseball, winning series, taking 2 out of 3, taking 3 out of 4. Nobody expects a team to go on, 10-game winning streaks, 15-game winning streaks. But if you could go into every series, take 2 out of 3, take 3 out of 4.
That's kind of what the Yankees did during most of the first half of the season so far, and look where it got them. But again, it's not just going in, and you don't have to sweep every series, but like you said, you could win. You could lose a series once in a while. You just can't get swept.
Right.
And that was the Mets' problem, is that they were they were losing too many games in bunches, and they put themselves in a situation where they needed to get on a roll, and it's exactly what they've done, because they've gotten hot at the right time.
Yes, and it goes back to that old saying people always talk about, how do you eat an elephant? You ever hear this?
No, I don't think so.
So the way you eat an elephant is you take it one bite at a time. That's how you have to eat it. And that's what the Mets need to realize. One bite at a time, one series at a time. Each game is important. A lot of times you get down to the end of the year and a team is 1 game out, 2 games out from missing the playoffs. And they need to realize that if they take that one bite at a time, a little bit every day, the bats are going, the pitching's there, maybe we get a good run.
I think at the end of each show now, we have to have a segment called What Did We Learn on Sports Bash today? And we just learned today, our lesson was from Vinny Tickets, how to eat an elephant.
Yes, one bite at a time.
Yes. So to our video production team, I think that's a clip for today, is to learn how to eat an elephant.
Yeah, we'll get some good video graphics with it as well.
And then we have the Yankees, who had an off day yesterday after losing 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox, and they are back home tonight to open up a first place showdown with the Orioles, who are back within striking distance of the Yankees in second place, and now coming into New York and trying to knock out the Yankees. Earlier in the season, the Orioles won 3 out of 4 from the Yankees in Baltimore. So this is a pivotal series for the Yankees early on here in the season, and they're going to go forward here without Anthony Rizzo. We talked about this on the pre-show. He is going to be out of action with an injured arm, a broken bone in the arm, 4 to 6 weeks. They've called up Ben Rice from AAA, combined 275 and 15 home runs between AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre and also with AA Somerset. And this is a big moment for this kid to come up here in the middle of a time when the Yankees are trying to, win a division and compete for a championship, and the Yankees are going to roll with Ben Rice at first base and see how it goes.
Yeah, and many times you see these situations, something happens when a player puts on the pinstripes for the Yankees. Something happens. We don't know what it is. Maybe it's the magic in the air, the hallowed ground. But I will say something happens. So let's hope that Ben Rice has that magic.
And I think for now, that was the best move the Yankees could make, because what they could have done was they could have moved DJ LeMahieu over to first base and put Oswaldo Cabrera in at third base every single day. They could have done that, and they probably could have maybe treaded water with that a little bit. They could have done something completely off the wall and brought Aaron Judge in to play first base. They could have done that. I think this is the right move right now. You've got this kid playing every day in AAA. See what he can do at the major league level. If you can get by with him, you do it. And now the Yankees will find out if they have to go out and acquire a first baseman somewhere. But I think for the moment right now, bringing up Ben Rice is the right move for the Yankees at the right time. And they're about to get Garrett Cole back tomorrow. So while they stumbled a little bit in Boston, I do think the Yankees are in a good position here. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is obviously a huge series against the Orioles. And obviously, all your ticket needs for this first place showdown, ticketbash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. So
That's
lots
right.
of good seats available for these three games. And by the way, the Thursday game is at 4 o'clock. It's a late afternoon game on Thursday. So they have night games tonight and tomorrow and 4 o'clock on Thursday. If you want to get out of the office a little bit earlier, you can go to the Yankee Stadium and get a late afternoon, early evening game, right?
Yeah, that's great.
That might be something to think about. We'll see. Well, when we come back, it's back to the Red Hot Mets because it's Free Ticket Tuesday, and we're giving away 2 Mets tickets coming up on the show. We'll tell you about that. We're also going to have This Day in Sports History with Kid Vinny. Stay with us on Facebook and YouTube through the break. We'll be back with some more, and then we'll come back with Free Ticket Tuesday and This Day in Sports History coming up on Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in It's Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, back with you on Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, as we wait to welcome back our radio audience. Here's something I touched on during the pre-show, Vinny. I mentioned the Liberty are going to play Minnesota at UBS Arena on Tuesday. It's an added game because it's the Commissioner's Cup Championship. And I did touch on this, that they notified the league that they couldn't host this game at Barclays Center. The WNBA basically ignored the Liberty and basically threatened to move the game to Minnesota. And I think the Liberty actually did a great thing here, putting that game at UBS Arena. It's a great building, as you mentioned on the pre-show, and maybe it's a negative into a positive that the Liberty can attract some more fans here on Long Island, because maybe people didn't want to go to Brooklyn to go see them play.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And looking forward, although we do have, it's a big sports night, the 25th. We have the Yankee Mets series that same night. But the fan bases may not cross over, right? So your baseball fans may be different than your basketball fans, and especially women's basketball. So.
But I do think it's going to be a good thing for the Liberty playing at UBS Arena. We're coming right back. Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, back on Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, as we welcome back our radio audience during the break, we were talking for Facebook and YouTube viewers about the Liberty, and we talked about this on the update earlier in the show, but the Liberty are going to play here on Long Island on Tuesday night against Minnesota for the Commissioner's Cup championship game. I just think I agree with the Liberty have a right to be upset about this because you earn. I know it's a play-in tournament, and at the end of the day, it's not as important as winning the league championship at the end of the season. But if you're going to have this play-in tournament and you're going to award a championship game and give you home court advantage, the league should have been a little bit more understanding for the Liberty that maybe they could have moved the game to another day. Why did you have to be stuck on Tuesday, June 25th to play the game? You know the NBA draft is going to be at Barclays Center, and I think the Liberty had a big right to be upset about this because they've built up a really good home court advantage at Barclays Center.
Yeah, the team is playing great, and you know, in situations like this, it was great that they were able to pivot last second, get the venue booked. And, you know, I'm actually, if it wasn't a Yankee Met game, I might make it over there, but.
I think I'm going to check it out. I mean,
and you're going to forego the Yankee Met game?
I'm actually thinking about it. There's two Yankee Met games. It's Tuesday and Wednesday, or Monday and Tuesday.
Correct.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
I go to the Liberty one night and focus on the Yankees and Mets, and maybe go to the Yankee Met game the other night. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. 631-451-1039 is the number to call. 631-451-1039, and that is the number that you need to call right now because it is Free Ticket Tuesday. 631-451-1039. Mets and Twins, 2 tickets on July 30th at Citi Field to see the red-hot New York Mets. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the 5th phone caller for David Wright. Number 5 for David Wright. Mets, Twins, July 30th at Citi Field. 2 tickets. Call that number right now, 631-451-1039. Wish Sebastiano that he has a good day. You know, try to be nice to him. He's not going to move you up the line. If you're not number 5, he's not going to give you the tickets, but it's always nice to get on Sebastiano's good side when you call that number. So make sure you say something nice to Sebastiano when he answers the phone, and we're going to take the 5th caller for David Wright.
Yes, we are. And let's give a big shout out to our man Sebastiano for keeping this show on track. And of course, Peter, you do a great job. But Sebastiano, just want to give you a big shout out to the other side of the glass there. You do an amazing job. Way to keep us always going, buddy.
Are you wondering what happened on this day in some whatever year in sports history? Are you thinking about that?
Well, it's interesting. I did hear some things about today and yesterday. But let's see what Wiz has to bring us today.
It's this day in sports history with Wiz Kid Vinny.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Vin. Now, obviously, when people think about what happened today, they are going to think about 1994 with O.J. Simpson and the Knicks and Rockets. But I actually want to go in a bit of a different direction because that would be too expected in a way. So I decided, you know, why not do one on a very interesting situation when the Detroit Tigers were down 13-1 in a game in 1911. And they came all the way back to win 16-15. That is tied for the biggest comeback in MLB history. The only 2 other times, both of which followed the then Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians. The first one was when the Philadelphia Athletics, they were in Philly at the time, defeated the Indians by a score of 17-15 when they were down by, like I said, 12 runs. And the other time also involved the Indians on the other side, and it was against the 116-win Mariners team in 2001 when they won in extra innings in 11 innings from the score 15-14. And as for that Tigers win, that was a game in which Ty Cobb, of course, legendary baseball player, first guy ever inducted into Cooperstown, 5 for 6, 5 RBIs, 3 runs. And that was the 20th game of his 40-game hitting streak. And when it came to the runs scored in that game, half of the runs that were scored by the Tigers were in the final 2 innings of the game. In fact, when it was going into the 8th inning, it was at 15-8. And, you know, road rival forever, the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers, you would think, you know, easy White Sox victory. Nay, Tigers had other plans, and yeah, pretty remarkable feat that has only been tied to other times but never surpassed.
Wow.
Awesome. Nice job.
You weren't alive for that game, right?
No, I was not alive. I was negative negative 80 years old, something like that around.
Negative
It
80.
just goes to show, and this is also, a little lesson for little leaguers. Just because you're down doesn't mean the game is over. You could be down a lot, and just get that game back before they call the mercy rule. Before the mercy rule comes in, they see if Major League Baseball had a mercy rule, the Tigers might have been in trouble that day.
Yeah, there was only 3 times it happened.
Sometimes I think there should be a mercy rule. With sometimes in baseball, but it's you see it in Little League all the time.
15 after 3, 10 after 4, right? They do all these things.
Yeah,
so.
and I see both sides of. I would say, both of my kids play Little League, and your kids have played baseball and softball too, and you can see both sides of it. You don't want to further embarrass the kids, if it's 10 runs or 12 runs after whatever, but you are also, and this is the parent in me thinking, they're registered to play, 6 innings or 7 innings. Suck it up, Buttercup, and play the games, and because you might learn something in those last couple of innings, make a great play, or you might get a big hit or something like that. And if you cut the game short 2 innings, you're losing out on at bats that could help you for the next game.
Yeah, well, talking on a major league level, I know me personally, if I bought legend seats and went to go see a Yankee game, and after 5 innings they were up or down by 15, and they said, "Okay, pack it up." What do you mean pack it up?
I paid $1,600 for this ticket. But the point being, at the youth level, and I get it. It's kids go to school the next day. Oh, we beat you 27-2 yesterday. I get that, but you know what? If you were a kid playing in that game and you lost an at bat or two because there was a mercy rule, maybe this kid gets up and hits a home run in the game. Maybe he gets a double. He hasn't gotten a hit all season long, and he gets up, and maybe it gets him some confidence for the next game. So I can see both sides of the mercy rule in youth sports.
Can I give a message to today's youth?
Yeah.
Today's youth, you need to realize.
These 2 Utes?
These 2 Utes.
Yeah.
Hey, these 2 Utes, how you doing? So, the message today is you are going to fail. You're going to fail at many things in life. Use them as life lessons and life experiences.
And as Rodney Dangerfield said in Back to School, watch out for number 1, otherwise you'll step in number 2. Right?
Good job.
There
Peter.
you go.
No respect
A
at
lot,
all.
a lot of lessons learned. We learned how to eat it. We learned how to eat an elephant. We learned about hanging in there in Little League. We learned about where you're walking in the street. A very educational edition of Sports Bash presented by Ticketbash.com. Sebastiano, did we have a winner? We don't have a winner yet. So it's still time for you to call in 631-451-1039 to win the Mets versus Twins tickets for July 30th. And there'll be two good seats, right?
Yeah, they'll be decent.
There'll be 2 good seats. So that's Mets and Twins on July 30th. Courtesy of Ticketbash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. So we talked about a lot of stuff on the show. We did not touch on the NBA Finals yet. So congratulations to the Boston Celtics winning another NBA championship. That's number 18 last night as they disposed of the Mavericks. And I heard some of the broadcast last night. I heard the end of the Celtics call. And this was a team that had to win. This was a team that was put together to win. And teams that are put together to win don't always wind up winning.
No,
Sometimes they're Cinderella stories. But the Boston Celtics this year, from start to finish, were the best team in the NBA, and they finished off the job last night, beating the Mavericks in 5 games. After getting blown out in Game 4, they came back with a vengeance last night.
Yeah, maybe we'll see the same thing tonight in the Stanley Cup.
Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, Game 5 tonight. What a wipeout the other night for Game 4 in Edmonton. The Oilers winning 8-1. So now the Panthers back home, and the Panther fans in South Florida, after they go to dinner with the early bird special, they get a chance to perhaps celebrate a Stanley Cup championship tonight in Sunrise, Florida. For Vinny Tickets, WizKid Vinny, Nick, Sebastiano, our whole crew, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We're back. Don't forget, tomorrow, it's Stump the Wiz tomorrow. Get your questions in. DM them to Sports Bash Media, Instagram, X, and Facebook, and you might have a chance to win a prize tomorrow. Congratulations to Ron. He's the winner. We'll see you tomorrow morning.